Hey guys, Coach Bloom here. Just wanted to do a quick overview of what's going to make effective opening and closing statements as we move into the competition season. So, again, for those we haven't talked to a whole lot, my name's Coach Jonathan Bloom. Spent about 11 years in courtrooms as a trial attorney. So, what I want to do is just help you master the most powerful moments in the trial, which are the opening and closing statements. This is the stuff you see on TV all the time, and there's a reason for it. It actually is one of the things that transfer and comport with the reality of courtroom scenes around the country and the things you see on TV. So glad to share that. So this is your moment to advocate and step into the spotlight for those of you like that, and you tell your story, the story of your client, in a way that's clear, confident, and hopefully persuasive to the jury or the judge, whoever the fact finder is in your trial. So this year we have a criminal trial. So your opening and your closing statement serve two very different purposes. So whichever one you're working on, understand your purpose and understand that it may be different than your counterpart who is doing either the closing or the opening. So the opening, this is just your chance to introduce your story. It's not to argue, it's not to persuade, but we want to frame the evidence that the jury is going to hear. So in the closing, this is your opportunity to connect the dots. So we want to show during the closing how that evidence that's been introduced throughout the trial proves your case or theory or casts reasonable doubt on the other party's theory for the defense in the criminal trial. So think of it this way. Your opening tells the jury, here's the story that we expect that the evidence is going to show. And then your closing tells them, now that you've heard all of that, here's what the story means. And you need to connect that to the standard of proof, which is beyond reasonable doubt. And hopefully it connects with your theme and your story. So let's start with the opening as we get into this. So a great opening to me has three elements to it. So you have a theme, number one. Number two, you have a story. And number three, we're trying to establish credibility. So for a theme, we're just giving the jury a short, memorable phrase that sums up your case. And you guys have been working on these throughout the year so far, but they are very important. It may seem corny, but you need to have a theory and a theme. So for example, this case is not about choices, and the one, so let's put it the way. This case is about choices, and the one choice that changed everything is how Fomos freaked out. A good theme is like a headline or a mantra, something that the jury should be able to hear and repeat it later as they're deliberating. So number two, we got the story. So tell the story in order. It should be linear, and then it's a simple thing, but you use your W's: who, what, when, where, and why. So we're painting the picture using facts, not arguments, and we want to use vivid language, yet professional language. So on a cold October night, Officer Daniels responded to a call. And avoid the legal jargon here in your story. You want to keep it more comfortable, confident, and conversational. So as we move into credibility, the third element, just remember, you're setting the tone for the entire trial. Make eye contact with the fact finder. If it's the jury, try to look at each and every one, especially the ones who are paying attention and the ones who seem engaged. They are your audience. If it's the judge, look the judge in the eye. If it's multiple judges like we have now, look them in the eye. And feel free to walk around as the rules allow. A little bit of movement goes a long way. So what we want to do, we want to have calm conviction. We want to be confident. We want to seem trustworthy. That way the jury is more likely to trust our version of events if they believe you in the opening. So closing, moving on to that. This is where you become an advocate. There's a structure that works and it's simple and it's powerful. So here it is. Number one, we want to remind the jury of your theme. Number two, we're going to summarize the evidence for them. Number three, we're going to explain how that evidence fits the law. And then we are going to ask the jury or the fact finder explicitly for a verdict. We want it to be, we ask you to find the defendant, Fomos, guilty. Or we ask you to, therefore, to find the defendant, Fomos, not guilty. So we want to start strong. At the beginning of the trial, I told you this case was all about choices, right? Now, after hearing the evidence, you know exactly what choice the defendant, Fomos, made. And then you connect the dots. So walk the jury through the key witnesses and the exhibits. If you're allowed to have visual aids, use those. So walk the jury through this and use transitions like remember when, or the evidence shows that, or you heard testimony that. And don't just list the facts, but we want to show how these facts prove your theory. And finally, just make your ask clear. It's a call to action. So the only fair verdict in this case is guilty on both counts, or the only just verdict is not guilty because the state has not met its burden. So these are simple things, but they are clear so the jury and the fact finder can understand what you are asking of them. Because ultimately, if you give a brilliant presentation but never tell them why it's important or what you actually want them to do in response to your brilliant presentation, it's all for naught. So style, tone, and delivery. Let's talk about those things. So things that in style and tone that are important is that you're conversational with the fact finder. You're not theatrical. You know, we don't need to have a TV lawyer moment. Okay, we just want them to like you and think you're an honest, credible person. We want to have passion, but it has to be authentic. Okay, don't grandstand. Don't make it all about you. Make it about your case. So when you're delivering as well, we want to change our pace a little bit. So slow down when you're going to emphasize great points and evidence that really helps. Silence can be powerful. It really lets things sink in. So look at the jury as well. Don't read from notes or look at your notes. You should be practiced enough to deliver this off the cuff or with minimal help from your notes. And make sure that when you're delivering that we end with confidence. So your last sentence should just really land with the fact finder. Okay? And linger. That's your theme. You hit out of the park. You made the ask. Land it. Stick it, as they do in gymnastics. And let it linger. Make the eye contact. So, we're getting ready for our trials. You guys are writing your openings. I hope this helps a little bit. But remember, we got the opening that invites the jury into your story. We've got a closing that gives them permission to believe it. And both of those are a chance to not just show what you know and what the evidence is, but it's your chance to be an advocate for your cause. You guys are going to do great. I hope this helps a little bit. And please let me know if you have any questions via email or at practice. Good luck, guys.